Welcome back, J-Max Garage. We're still messing with the AX24. We've been playing with the shocks. Got it sitting a lot lower, as you can see here. We still have our flex. And we just did some quick, simple things. Nothing too fancy. And we'll check that out right now. But it's performing a lot better. It's doing some lines that we couldn't do before. So, alright, we got the body off. This is what we did. So in the rear, I replaced the springs with a little stiffer springs, and they're shorter. So it'll still droop out all the way. As you see, the spring isn't quite long enough for the shock. So what it does is when it gets to that, and these are a little stiffer, so when it was getting to that point, when you're on the hill of tipping over, the back springs were compressing because they were so soft, which is good for flex. But in that situation, it would compress that last little bit and just flip over. So they're a little stiffer, not stiff enough where it won't still flex. It'll still flex, but just stiff enough. And these springs I had, I don't know what they're from. I think they were from another set of SCX24 shocks that came with multiple spring rates. That's actually what they're from, but I don't know what brand they were. And they were just springs I didn't use. So, and they are short. I cut them short that way it wouldn't be hard the whole travel. It would just be that last little bit. So as you can see, ride height is way lower than it was. It was sitting, I don't know, something like that. So that's helping us out a lot. And then on the front, what I did is left the shocks alone. I tried to mess with them. I tried different springs. Nothing really seemed to do what I wanted it to do. So all I did is take some fishing line and tied up the center axle. So as you see, you still have flex, but it won't droop out all the way. And you do lose a little bit of that droop, but in my situation, this is working a lot better. I'd rather have that flex and not have it fall out because that was tipping me over. So with this setup right here, this thing is beast. This thing will go where my other, 24th and 18th scale won't. The only other thing I did is both these servo savers were loose, which I know these aren't great servos anyways, but they were so loose that I was thinking the servos, just when you got to buying, they were so weak, which they're not the greatest. But what was happening is they were just too loose. So I tightened up the front one and the back one, and then now they're working a lot better. You can actually turn somewhat when you get in the bind. And that might not be on all of them. Maybe mine were just loose. But I did address that. So we changed the springs in the back, went a little stiffer, but they're shorter. And then the front, we tied that line in the middle. You just have to tie it like it's tied around the axle to a center point, and then comes straight up and ties there. That way, it's just pulling in that center, holding it up. That way it could flex. As you can see, it will flex left or right, whatever way. But it won't droop out. As you can see, the back will still droop out, but the front won't. I didn't see it necessary to tie up the back, so I just left that alone with the little stronger springs. And that seems like I'm still going to play with it. I like to do something a little bit, I don't know, maybe a little bit nicer. This is just a quick thing to do, but man, it made it perform. It performs better than any of the little guys I have. So I still have some, and these tires are doing pretty good too. I still have some tires coming. They're a little bit bigger than this, which these are pretty good size, but they're a little bit bigger, and they have brass in the wheels. So I think that's going to help us out too. And I have the Furatech kit, but I don't know if it's going to fit the way this is set up, because I know it moves the motor to the front. I actually have it right here. Sorry. My mat's a mess here. All these cars get dirty. But the way it moves this with the plate, it moves it to the front. And you put this in, and now the motor, instead of going out the back, goes to the front on the top. I'm not sure if it's going to fit, especially with the motor having to rotate. And I don't know. I guess there's some way to get it, but we'll look at that next and see if that's feasible. But for shock wise, like I said, I messed with shorter, stiffer springs in the back. I initially had stiffer springs that were the full length, and it just didn't work. It just was it stayed drooped out and wouldn't flex. So once I shortened them up a little bit, that helped, and then tied the front up. And this thing's a beast now. It's a big improvement. I don't know if I'll be able to get that motor in there or not. If not, I'm just going to put it in my Gladiator, but see what else they come out for these. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope that helps. Just little free tips. As you can see, we still have our flex, and I'll show some video of it running. It does great. Thanks. Have a good one. So we're back in the backyard, gonna run it again. Running the same lines we did before we did the shock mods. And it goes right up at like no big deal. First try, just goes right up. Little struggle at the top, but I was flipping over there right in that spot backwards every time. I mean, I could not make that for the life of me. So I think I made it one time. Actually, I did make it one time, but it was real tough and it wasn't as clean as that. So it's a big improvement. It's a cheap little thing, just something to do, quick and easy, but man, it works. It made it a whole different truck and performs a heck of a lot better than it did. It's nice to do something that doesn't really cost anything. It actually makes a big difference. And this made a big difference. Big difference. Here's the next line. Actually, the same line. This is a different run, but from another angle. So I did it multiple times, and man, it just goes right up. Still have plenty of flex. More than enough. And it goes right up this thing, which in stock form it would not do. And actually, any stock 124 truck will not do that run stock. So, and here's the line on the backside that we did previously, and we could not make this one. We didn't even make it halfway up this. And I did have, even with the brass on it, I do have front and rear brass diff cover from CCXRC, and the front knuckles as well as the front brass steering link. So I do have a little weight added. And even with that, I couldn't make this line. But now we made it no problem. Just crawled right up it. It's pretty impressive how much difference it did make. Well, appreciate you guys watching. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one. Here's a little bit more running video. And if you got any ideas, tips, or anything you think I can do to it better, let me know. I'm open to ideas. I'm just playing with it, seeing how good I can get it to climb. So far so good. It's helping out a lot, and we'll keep going with it. Thanks.